Good evening and welcome to NEWSBREAK Live. Today is March 26th and we bring you the latest news at the top of the hour. I'm Hiba Samad. Thanks for joining us. You can soon stop by the city's gem, the Madrona Marsh Preserve, to experience its history dating back to more than 20,000 years ago. The Madrona Marsh Preserve and Nature Center has started installing its new exhibits that are interactive and help you learn all the wonders it has to offer, a process that has been in the works for 3 years. The installations have been possible thanks to an education grant applied by Manager of Park Services Tracy Drake, who had a vision when she was in graduate school. The exhibits allow visitors to learn about the preserve without hiring additional staff. Each one is specific to the marsh. The first one captures 5 major time periods of the preserve starting from 20,000 years ago. There's an atrium that features the 4 habitats of the marsh, a mural that represents what is outside, allowing people to experience wildlife without disturbing them, along with a full exhibit on Native American history, and a digital experience that is called Symphony of Sounds. They plan to open the installations to the public sometime in April. We'll hear all about this and Tracy Drake's passion project next week on NEWSBREAK Live. A local trauma center training Torrance first responders to help save more lives. The Torrance Fire Department Tactical Emergency Medical Service Program is partnering up with Harbor UCLA Trauma Center to become official instructors of the Stop the Bleed program. A trauma surgeon and nurse will train 10 TFD TAC medics. These paramedics' specialty is to work with the Torrance Police Department SWAT team during emergencies. Once they become official instructors, they can better prepare the public. The National Security Council staff and the White House initiated this campaign with the purpose of preparing the general public to save lives, whether the bleeding is a result of a man-made incident, natural disaster, or accident. The training is focused so the community members can be trained to act as first responders who can immediately respond to life-threatening bleeding and use the appropriate methods. A local student is fighting another battle with leukemia. Ryan Jacoby, a second grader at Riviera Elementary School, is in desperate need of a bone marrow donor match. Jacoby is Vietnamese and Caucasian, which makes it harder for him to find a donor. But you can find out whether you can help him by signing up for Be the Match National Bone Marrow Registry. Once you sign up, you'll get a swab test which we mail to you, which you can mail back. Jacoby just finished 10 days of chemo, and they're waiting for his immune system to recover to see if there are any more leukemia cells left. Be the Match is operated by the National Marrow Donor Program and has managed the largest and most diverse marrow registry in the world. If you would like to see if you're a match, go to join.bethematch.org/match for Ryan. A local business beats out thousands of others for its one-of-a-kind innovation. Finn, the leading intelligent water company, announced that its first product, Finn Plus Smart Water Assistant and Shutoff, has been honored with the prestigious Red Dot Award, Product Design 2019. Finn Plus is a single connected smart water monitor that detects leaks anywhere in a home and can automatically shut off the main water to prevent costly damage. It also monitors water use, giving homeowners insight into their water consumption so they can conserve and save. The Red Dot Award Product Design is one of the world's largest design competitions. This year, designers and manufacturers from 55 countries entered more than 5,500 products in the competition. International experts assess each entry based on its level of innovation, functionality, formal quality, longevity, and ergonomics. Finn Plus will also be featured in the Red Dot Design Yearbook, online and on their app. A longtime Torrance resident is remembered after her recent passing. Mary Ann Bradford, one of Torrance's oldest residents, passed away last week at 100 years old. Bradford graduated from Torrance High School in 1935. In 1938, she married her classmate George Bradford, where they lived on Beach Avenue. Their children and 3 grandchildren were also Tartars. On her 100th birthday, Torrance City Cable was there and joined in on her life celebration, where Councilman Mike Griffiths also recognized her birthday with a proclamation. Bradford's husband was a former Torrance council member. Bradford was cremated and her wishes were to not have a service. The city's one-of-a-kind celebration to honor the armed forces is returning. One of the many events that will take place the weekend of May 18th is the 5K Freedom Run and Walk. Early bird registration is now open and more than 2,500 participants are expected. Also, if you're a local business, you can register now for a team or even sponsor the event. In its fourth year, the 5K is part of a 60-year-old tradition of hosting the armed forces. The celebration honors a different branch every year, with 2019 recognizing the United States Navy. The highlight is a parade that includes military exhibits. Torrance is one of the few cities nationwide sanctioned by the Department of Defense to honor our armed forces. To learn more about the 5K, go to torrancechamber.com/5K. A popular fruit is being recalled across 6 states, including California. Henry Avocado's distribution is being questioned for possible listeria contamination. It covers regular and organic avocados that were grown and packed in California. There haven't been any reports of illnesses, but the recall comes after the company performed a routine inspection of its packing plant and found that samples tested positive for listeria. One way customers can find out whether they have a recalled avocado is by looking out for a Bravocado and organic California labels on the outside of the item. Now, some symptoms include high fever, severe headaches, stiffness, and nausea. For more information, head to henryavocado.com/media. A new AAA travel survey shows that nearly 100 million Americans are planning a getaway this year. This means that 4 in 10 adults in the United States are planning to take a vacation in 2019, which is more than last year. 69% of those who plan to travel will take 2 trips or more. The survey also showed that regardless of the season, about half of traveling families will hit the road as well. A new trend for California family travelers is the increased airline capacity to Hawaii, thanks to Southwest Airlines that added routes from local airports. If you're planning on a road trip, gas prices have averaged about 10 to 15 cents lower per gallon in 2019. You can learn about the top routes for summer travel according to American Automobile Association by going online to their website. Visit AAA.com/travel tips. And your next meal can give back to a local organization this week. The first of many Torrance Rosefoot Association Restaurant for Roses events are coming up, with the first one being this Thursday at BJ's Brewhouse. The restaurant will donate 20% of the proceeds to the association. It's valid for dine-in or takeout. You can participate in the all-day event by going to torrancerosefoot.org and printing out the flyer. The 2020 Rose Parade theme is the power of hope, celebrating the influence of optimism and hope. It's never too early to sign up to become a member of the Torrance Rosefoot Association and become part of the 2020 decorating team. Let's get to the weather. Today was warm with a high of 66 degrees and expected low of 55. Then tomorrow it will stay the same. On Thursday it'll get a bit cooler with a high of 64. Then listen to this. On the weekend you can make plans to hit the beach with temperatures reaching nearly 80 degrees. There is a new restaurant in town that's bringing street Thai food to the city. Thai Hub Street Food and Dessert Cafe opened recently and is offering an eclectic array of food options for customers. A few of their main items include various papaya salads, rice dishes topped with eggs such as cup prao, ground beef, or chicken, and the morning glory with crispy pork. They also cook up fried rice, noodle wok, and curry dishes located on Pacific Coast Highway near 242nd Street. And with the cafe in their name, they have milk drinks such as the classic Thai iced tea to the mango sticky rice that will make your mouth water. You can check out the full menu at thaihubtorrance.com. And a hot topic at tonight's council meeting will be all about the city's 4th of July fireworks show this summer. City staff hopes council will approve Pyro Spectaculars, Inc. as the contractor for the next show for the next 3 years. They will discuss the various proposals of the show type, with the city hoping to choose the option that will have the larger shells, which is also the safest. This and much more at 7 p.m. Now it's time to get to the events. This Thursday at 8 a.m., the Milestone Mall Walkers Club will kick off their presentations. The topic this week will be Life's Simple 7 Warning Signs with Jackie Tan, a spokesperson from the American Heart Association. It'll take place near Blaze Pizza, located in the Patio Cafes. Then this Sunday, you can attend the city's annual Torrance Cherry Blossom Cultural Festival. It'll take place from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Columbia Park. There will be cultural performances, local artisans, and delicious food. The event is free. And older adults looking to relive their youth can participate in the 9th annual senior prom called Springtime in Paris. Tickets are now on sale. It'll take place on Thursday, April 11th. Registration at City Hall. You can call 618-2720 for more information. Well, in just 2 minutes, Dr. Shlee Song, who is the medical director for Torrance Memorial Medical Center's stroke program, will talk about one of the deadliest causes of death in the United States. We'll be back in just a few.
There. Can I tell you a cat joke?
Good
Just
job.
kidding.
I didn't mix it.
Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch.
My name is Hunter Hayes, and I know my buzzed warning signs. One shot is about knowing my limits, or not necessarily knowing my limits.
I start with one shot to have a good time. Everybody knows how easy one can turn into five.
I think a sign that I'm buzzed is when I start solving not only my own problems, but the entire world's problems. When I know I'm going out, I know I'm gonna start with calling for a ride.
One shot at a time.
Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Cut.
Yeah, no, that was great.
You sure? You guys happy? Great.
Yeah, it was
Dude,
great.
easy day, man. Thank you so much.
Totally, yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Do you want us to sign your guitar?
No.
I mean, we
We'll
totally do.
we'll
Yeah,
sign
it's
it.
fine.
We'd be happy.
Sorry, I gotta run. Good to see you guys. Thanks.
We should have asked for his signature.
Welcome back to the second half of NEWSBREAK Live. Joining me is Dr. Shlee Song, who is the medical director for Torrance Memorial Medical Center Stroke Program and the director for Cedar Sinai Department of Neurology Stroke Program. Welcome to NEWSBREAK Live.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
You're here, you're talking about a top killer here in the United States. So stroke, you're hearing more and more about it. So talk to me about what exactly causes a stroke and the definition of one.
Right. So a stroke happens suddenly, and it's a sudden loss of blood flow or a burst in a blood vessel. And so that type of event causes sudden symptoms. The acronym I like for people to remember is B FAST. So the signs and symptoms of stroke can happen suddenly, and it's sudden loss of balance, sudden loss of vision, and then FAST is face, arm, speech, and then time is brain. So if you have any of those symptoms where your face is drooping, you're not able to talk normally, and your arm is weak, that is the time to call 911.
Are these the main symptoms you would also say when someone is experiencing a stroke?
Yes, a lot of these symptoms will not come with pain. So that's how it differs from a heart attack. A lot of people don't hesitate to call 911 when they have chest pain, but a lot of these type of symptoms with the face, arm, and speech changes come without pain, especially for the type of strokes where there's loss of blood flow. With the rupture in a blood vessel in the brain, there may be this most severe headache, and that most patients will be coming to the emergency room with concerns about a bleed in the brain.
Is there an age demographic background that makes people more prone to getting a stroke? I mean, you hear about people from all different backgrounds and ages experiencing one.
Yes, so the more common population that we see are the over 65 group, where risk factors like high blood pressure, obesity, diabetes can be linked with that type of process where there's thickening of some blood vessels and lack of blood flow. But young people have strokes too, and the causes of a young person's stroke may be different from that of an over 65-year-old patient.
Does that play into the different types of strokes? There are 3 types, correct?
Yes. So some of the strokes that we were talking about, the ischemic type of stroke is the most common, and that's due to lack of blood flow due to a clot. And that's about 80% of strokes. The other quarter or 20% is due to a rupture in a blood vessel. And the third type, which is the warning sign for a stroke, is a TIA or a transient ischemic attack.
Wow. And so there's so many different kinds. So before we get into a little bit more about how it's diagnosed, the treatments, the American Stroke Association says that each year, nearly 800,000 people experience a new or recurrent stroke, and that a stroke happens every 40 seconds. I mean, these are very jarring numbers. Talk to me a little bit more about what you see as a doctor right here in the South Bay, and now with Torrance Memorial Medical Center and Cedars having a partnership with a stroke center, which is very rare.
Yes. So the most important thing is to get the education out that there are things we can do now to prevent stroke. Prevention is key. So I'd rather see my patients in the office talking about risk factor control. So the number one risk factor being high blood pressure. So it's important to get your physicals every year, and that's where things like high blood pressure can be caught. Having your annual physical may entail a blood test where we can check for things like diabetes or blood sugar issues and cholesterol. With this partnership that we have between Cedars and Torrance, we can get experts to Torrance Memorial ER with our Telestroke Program. So our 8 physicians that are on call to cover any of these stroke emergencies 24/7 are available with a call to our Telestroke Program and Transfer Center. We immediately beam into a camera where we can evaluate the patients with the emergency room physicians at Torrance Memorial.
Wow, that's amazing. And that also means aftercare as well for someone who does experience a stroke. Talk to me a little bit more about the symptoms, because as you mentioned earlier, time is of the essence. When someone has a stroke, it really could mean life or death situation.
Right.
So what are some more symptoms? Are they very obvious?
They may be more subtle, and the more obvious ones that people catch are the weakness type of symptoms where it's on one side of the body. But when it's things like when your vision is out or your balance is out, those could be subtle things where people might dismiss it as, oh, I'm probably just tired, let me sleep this off and I'll deal with it in the morning. That's not what you should do. You should be going to the emergency room and calling 911 with any loss of vision, any sudden onset where you're losing your ability to do something that you can normally do. Time is brain. And the quicker we can restore blood flow or control that bleeding in the brain, that's key in terms of your recovery process.
So what are the treatments if someone calls 911?
Right.
How do they get to Torrance Memorial Medical Stroke Center if they have to? Tell us a little bit about the process.
So with the help of LA County Emergency Medical, we have a grid in LA, and thankfully with a lot of the education that's provided to our EMTs, they recognize those symptoms and bring you quickly to a primary or comprehensive stroke center. If you have more severe symptoms, they will take you to a place like Torrance Memorial where you have comprehensive care. That means that a stroke expert will get to the camera quickly with the emergency room physician. We immediately scan the brain, and we advise people not to take an aspirin with the signs and symptoms of stroke because you won't know which one you have until we have the imaging done. So we quickly get the imaging done, and then the treatments that we offer, if it's the more common type, which is the ischemic stroke, due to a clot in the brain. We have things that dissolve the clot, like alteplase or TPA. We administer that medication quickly through IV for those that are eligible. And then there are catheter-based treatments where our interventionalists can thread a catheter and remove the clot.
So knowing your information and always taking precaution is the first step. But for a lot of people sometimes wonder, what's the difference between an aneurysm and a stroke? Can you provide some insight on that?
Yes, so a stroke is a disease, and an aneurysm is an outpouching or a bulge in a blood vessel. An aneurysm can lead to a type of stroke, like the hemorrhagic stroke or the bleeding type of stroke, because there's an outpouching and there's the potential to burst in that blood vessel. The most common risk factor for an aneurysm, again, is high blood pressure. Similar to the risk factors in all kinds of strokes, high blood pressure is a key thing to recognize and treat appropriately to avoid things like an aneurysm.
And of course, a patient will not know unless they go to the hospital, so that's
Right.
very important.
Right. Leave that to the experts. Thankfully, with this partnership, we can get our emergency room physicians partnered up with a physician that knows how to treat these type of strokes. We partner with our interventionalists for those who have the larger clots, where they can engage that clot with a catheter. And we've seen patients that come in half paralyzed walk out of the hospital because they're able to get treated right away.
And speaking of this partnership, again, for viewers that are tuning in, Torrance Memorial Medical Center's Lundquist Cardiovascular Institute collaborates with Cedar Sinai Medical Center, and you spoke about the Telestroke Program. And this is like offering 24/7 access to stroke specialists like yourself and much more. So talk to me a little bit more about someone coming to the center compared to going to the emergency room.
Right. So a story I can talk about is a patient that was in Palos Verdes and had her stroke symptoms where she couldn't talk and her right side of the body was paralyzed. Had she taken matters in her own hands with the traffic patterns that we see in the South Bay and Cedar Sinai, it could take a lot longer. But with calling 911 and getting quickly seen with our team, she was able to get the clot busting drug and that catheter-based treatment we talked about to get her clot removed. That partnership or that affiliation that we have is key to engage in, and to have that kind of access is just a 911 call away.
And recently, you mentioned the American College of Cardiology and American Heart Association released guidelines just last week for healthy habits that can prevent stroke and heart disease, which is also very important. So what lifestyle changes can people make to decrease the potential of being a victim of a stroke?
Yeah, so things like making healthy diet choices where you're not having too much salt in your food, having fresh fruits and vegetables, a high fiber diet like that seen in a Mediterranean diet may be heart healthy, and that's healthy for your brain as well. And then incorporating exercise. I tell our patients to start light, 30 minutes, 3 or 4 times a week, go for a stroll. And staying active that way is the start of incorporating healthy lifestyle habits.
And before you go, I want to, as the director of the Stroke Center, can you talk to me a little bit about how the center is really meeting the need of stroke cases here in the South Bay? I know I've heard that, we're seeing a lot more strokes in the South Bay region alone. So if you can kind of talk about that.
Yes. So my hope and wish is for our program to be available for all those that are in need of emergency stroke care. Improving access is one of the big things that I saw happening with this affiliation that we have between Torrance and Cedar Sinai, that the experts are not located in facilities that are difficult to reach, that the expertise is coming to you at the bedside, where patients can be seen by family members during the recovery process. I don't believe that You have to drive miles and miles or an hour in the car to get your expert care. We can utilize technology like the Telestroke Program to bring the expertise to you.
Well, doctor, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for sharing all this information.
Thank
Hopefully it'll
you.
help save lives.
Thank you, Hiba.
Well, that does it for NewsBreak Live. If you ever have news or video that you'd like to share, please email us at newsbreak@torranceca.gov. Also, if you missed any portion of the show, you can catch it all on Torrance City Cable's YouTube page. City Council will start at 7 p.m. Have a great night.